Hello, and welcome to another Fly on the Wall with Josh Hill. I'm Josh Hill. Today, we have two very special guests. One that you already know who is slightly less special than the other one, Mr. Luca Marzorati, co-founder North Star Partners, co-founder Cyber Neighbourhood. Any other accolades you wish to add?
Co-founder on launching soon. Stay tuned.
By the time it goes out, it'll get launched, so feel free to...
Co-founder of the lounge.
There you go. And most importantly, the most important of our guests today, the voice of cyber herself, Karissa Breen, KB, founder of KBI Media.
Thank you.
Many other accolades. What else have I missed?
We won't bother listing them, but yes.
It's because they're long.
No, I just think, shiny object syndrome. Being an entrepreneur, you sort of do a lot of things, but it's also led me to this point today. So I'm keen to be here and keen to be on the other side of asking the questions.
I'm glad you raised that because I was about to say you've done 300 plus on my side. How are you feeling about giving away the power a little bit?
I think I like it. I think it also gets me to exercise that muscle because sometimes as well, it's a different skill to answer the questions rather than doing the questioning of people. So I think it's good. So thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is definitely all ours. So first and foremost, also a co-founder of Cyber Neighbourhood. We'll touch on the easy stuff first. Mm-hmm. Then I want to go back to talking a little bit about young KB and how we got to where we are. Explain Cyber Neighbourhood for the uninitiated, the people that don't know, the people that live under a rock, and kind of why we did what we did in your own words.
Well, I think we were social people. We like talking to people at various levels, and we didn't want to do a lot of organising because we organise so many things every day. And I thought, hey, I saw you guys out when I was meeting with someone, and we just thought, let's do a casual meetup without barriers, badges, all of the sign in, all of the who's who, and just see whoever rocks up. And we started with that. We've done 2 of them now, so hopefully the 3rd one soon. And it's just really a casual meetup of cybersecurity people in the field who are looking to get into it, or people like veterans that we've seen, like Ben Doyle and friends who regularly rock up. But I think that, we just wanted to actually be out there at the coalface and on the ground and never forget like where we sort of started as younger folks as well. And it's been fun because again, it's sort of, is it work or is it friends? It's a kind of a little bit of both. So it's actually quite nice and you don't have to stay for too long and you can go about your day afterwards. But I think that we just sort of came up with this idea because people want to network, and I would say since COVID, there's not been a lot of these things in terms of meetups. So I think for the younger generation, it's something that they've probably missed out on a little bit, and we wanted to bring that back into the space.
The casual nature though, like there's plenty of, there's an event every day if you want to go to one, right? But it's always like, register this, go to that. And I think the whole thing really was, hey, let's just get people together in a room, or in this case outdoors, and it's rained both times. So
both times, and we got a great turnout. So it was like pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, given that I think like Thursday's the new Friday apparently nowadays, and it was been cold and like rained every time. So I think it's been good because again, there's so many people that I think perhaps get overlooked and they don't get the opportunity to meet with others in the space. And it requires zero organising other than us putting the post out on LinkedIn. So I'm okay about that.
Don't forget the sign.
Yeah, true. The sign. Sign is absolutely elite.
Yeah, it really is. Check out KB's LinkedIn to have a look at that. I think the important thing and what I've taken away from it, I'm keen to move on, but one point on this is the people that we have met, the ones that we didn't already know, because we've known so many people that have rolled in and it's been great to catch up with them casually. And you're right, friends, work kind of blurs. But the younger generation, the work that they're putting into going out and meeting people, it's left me seriously impressed.
Yeah.
I think it's changed so much as well. Like I'm 33 and I didn't go to uni, so I started working. And in Queensland, you graduate at school at 17, right? So I've got 15 years. And I've just seen the changes. Like when I was really young, I'd go out every night. But people just don't do that now. I think cost of living. But also it's just different way of how people are operating now. There's a whole work from home. There was none of that when I first started. I used to use a fax machine in my very first job. I used to have to send faxes. That makes me feel really old.
You're not that old. Calm down.
I know, but it's just like how quickly has time changed and evolved. So it's like, well, where are these younger folks building their brand? Where are they meeting people? Because like now at the moment, everyone's just like, oh, I'm too busy, or I couldn't be bothered, I work from home, or I live so far out now, I'm never going to the city. So it's good that we've tried to bring and inject a little bit more of what we were used to growing up through our, younger years, younger career.
It's proper networking at its roots. Like it's no pressure at all. And that's probably like, what's the difference? Yeah,
of course. And I feel like I actually still get nervous talking to people, and I don't think anyone would believe me when I say that, but I genuinely do, because I was a really shy kid, and I think that people never believe me when I say that, but it's been more of a learned skill over the years. But I also think growing into it, being comfortable with who I am, having some of maybe the pushback that I got originally, and it sort of made me who I am. But now I'm sort of like, I'm at this level, I'm already doing it, people like it, and if you don't, then that's fine.
I love that you've gone on that segue, because that's exactly where I was going to go next. We finished our promotional plug for Cyber Neighbourhood for 3 people who don't organise it, but are organising it. There's that done and dusted. Let's talk about young KB. You mentioned earlier Queensland. It's a bad week to be a Queenslander. How do we get to where we are from regional Queensland, is my understanding, to the big city, doing what you do now as probably one of the global leaders, if not, in cybersecurity?
I think this is really important because Breen is an Irish last name, and so for people who don't know, both of my grandparents immigrated to Australia to do cane farming. So that's why I grew up in that part of Queensland. So my mum's Italian background and my dad's Irish. And back then they just couldn't find the people in Australia to do the cane farming. So you'll often see in regional parts of Australia or farming, there's a lot of immigrants there. And I think that it's probably been so important for me because you become that underdog. And my parents, as well as my grandparents, always told me to work really, really hard. Definitely have more of that entrepreneurial streak in terms of majority of people on my dad's side run their own businesses, as well as grandparents had their own businesses. So it's probably in my DNA and in my blood. But equally, I think that when my dad would take me to Sydney as a kid on holidays, I was like, wow, this place is so cool. Like, people like are in the street, like they've got to be somewhere and they've got to do something. And then I just thought, after I graduate school, I need to go to the biggest city in Australia because that's where the opportunities are. And I knew growing up in Townsville, I just didn't want to do what everyone else did, and I took a different path. And there's nothing wrong with taking that path, but for me, I wanted to explore things. I wanted to push myself. But then when I got here, that was a completely different story again. That I think having the background of my family and knowing you got to work really hard to get anywhere in life, I think has probably been the undertone of what I do now. And even still to this day, I don't think that I'm anything special or anyone. I just know that if I outwork everyone, that I will get the success. And I would say that almost 8 years of doing this, I absolutely can put hand on my heart and say that the hard work definitely pays off, but it just takes time.
Yeah, I think it's a common theme that, we're going to talk about, I'm sure, over the next however long that we're here for, is that hard work beats luck. And the harder you work, the luckier you get. There's so many different examples that we see throughout our times and different phrases and everything. But it's true, isn't it? Like, that's a lived experience. I'm sure, Luca, you'll agree with this as well, that when you actually kind of put in the time and the effort and get to know people and everything that goes with it, things kind of happen for you. It's amazing. Who would have thought? When you arrived, obviously a big culture change. Townsville's
very big,
600,000 people, something like that.
Oh, it's probably less when I grew up there, for sure. Massive culture change.
I'm pulling that out of nowhere, by the way, so watch me get fact checked.
I definitely think it's a lot less. It's probably the same sort of size as Newcastle, to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
But such a long way away. Just even how people are is so different. They're way more laid back. And here, there's just so much going on. There was definitely a culture change. So it's like if you're in a relay race, I had to start a lot further back than other people that grew up here. Parents, they went to a big fancy school here. Not saying I didn't go to a good school in Townsville, but again, I was removed from being in Sydney and not knowing how things operated here. Like, to give you an example, I didn't know when you go up into a massive building that depending on the levels, you had to go to different sections to get to, in terms of the elevator. I just thought it was one that went up every floor. I didn't even know that. And then I remember, like, back in the day, when we used to have the train tickets, you used to put the physical ticket, I was like panicked about it. I was like saying to this random person that I sort of knew at the time when I was doing a bunch of like fashion things and stuff like that. I was like, I'm so stressed about getting the train. He's like, I will physically walk you to the train. You are fine. I'm like, do you think I'm going to be okay? Do you think it's dangerous? And he's like, no. And I think that, again, I really had to start back and then I never took any public transport.
Yeah.
In Queensland, like there was like one bus that goes around. So I just drove everywhere. So I'd never taken a public bus. And then like, as I said back then, when you were commuting to the city 5 days a week, you just like crammed in a bus or a train every day. It's just so different. And I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to the rush hour in the morning of everyone just like pushing everyone, Martin Place, especially when it rained. It just really amplified the intensity. You have to get used to that. And so like when you're not from here, you're like, wow, everyone's like such in a bad mood. And I've been here for so long now that I'm used to it. But now, like when you bring people here and they're not from here, you can see that it's like, wow, I was definitely that person that was such like a fish out of water.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's funny because I just can't imagine that version of the person that sat in front of me. Fashion, you mentioned it already. Key part of where you've kind of got to and part of what built you to where you were. Did you come here for fashion or what was the...
Kind of. I did like fashion modeling stuff. I mean like back then things were really different. There's like Instagram was only just launching when I was like 18, 19, right? So like I used to have to physically go with a book and they call it like a comp card and show your modeling book and all those sort of things, right? And then Instagram came out. So then we saw the influx of the influencers and that sort of thing. But I still love fashion at my core. I love being creative. I love showing my personality. I love to be different. I think I've always taken to fashion as a kid. And so for me, I wanted to, like I said, I never went to uni and there were so many girls, I went to an all-girls school that were like, I really want to be a vet or a nurse. And I just never had that. But again, I wanted to try different things and see like eventually I'll just wash up at a place where it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be, but it's going to be a bit of a journey. And I'd like to pick that up one day, fashion stuff. But for now, I've sort of found my groove after a long time. But that's been just trial and error and, you know, getting to a point in a job where I didn't like it anymore and just moving on and accepting that. And I think when you listen to people that are, you know, super successful, influential, they'll say like with your 20s, it's all about experimenting, right?
Yeah.
It's not about, oh, okay, I know exactly what I want to do. I don't know who I wanted to be, but I knew that I wanted to do something for myself. And I always had that as a kid. And it was interesting. I was going back through some of my storage in these boxes and I found like an old notebook and it was a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do I've actually done. I probably wrote this down a long time ago. And I thought it's crazy how you start thinking that way and you naturally start gravitating towards those things. I always wanted a company named after me. I always wanted my brand on it. Maybe that was influenced by Hollywood and movies and stuff like that. So for me, it's I've done a bit of everything, but I think because I've done a bit of everything, it's given me a very unique perspective to what I do today.
How'd that feel, that notebook? You look at that and you go,
it's
young
crazy.
KB's like, you know, walking down this is
full
gonna
of
be
dream.
horribly racist to my friends in Queensland, but it's the week for it again. You know, you go down there and you're like walking through the K, looking at all the sugar going, oh, I want to go and have a thing named after my own company, etc. It must have felt abstract at the time, but...
It still feels weird. I still pinch myself. I think the only thing that I was actually thinking about this last night because everything's so fast at the moment. I don't often get the time to sit back and reflect and have that introspection, which I'm trying to do more of because it's like, okay, go do the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So I'm trying to be more cognizant the next part of the year to be like, actually done this thing that I've always thought about, putting my mind to. But yeah, it is cool. I think that goes back to the hard work, the putting your mind to something and not really worrying about what other people think because you're always going to get, you know, people that don't agree with you or say bad things about you. But I was definitely always a dreamer as a kid and I was definitely influenced by movies and seeing other people do certain things. And when I came here on holidays and seeing how people were in Sydney and just like people here, it's like they know who they are or even if it's a perception thing, it's like they are part of something. And I never really kind of found that when I grew up in Queensland. I always thought I was super different to everyone. And it's so weird because now in Sydney, I'm like, I'm so different to everyone here. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I think that maybe it's just, I'm just growing as a person.
You're comfortable now being different.
Yeah, I've always been different. I've always been eccentric. I've always been incredibly defiant. I've always been like, no, this is what I'm doing and I'm going to stick to it. but I've done it in my own way, I think, as well. And maybe because I got the Italian background, maybe there's a bit of that, but also the Irish as well can be a little bit heated. So, yeah, I think it's crazy to be sitting here having this conversation, talking about this. Oh my God, that rattled me.
Yeah. This is what happens when you talk about the Irish.
I know.
It's been funny.
I know. That was. What is that? An aircon?
I think it's the aircon.
I feel like I'm going really off track, but I'm just.
No. I'll pull you back in whenever I want to. Don't worry about it. It's fun.
No.
Only because like I didn't have I don't have anything in my mind. I'm just listening to you.
We're literally. I want to talk about the early stage stuff, which we're doing, and then.
How did you move?
Yeah, exactly. So next we'll just dive into talking about what you do, and then how you got here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hold for just a little bit in case it comes back on.
All good.
It won't be inconsistent.
That's right. That was the look on her face was priceless.
I was like, oh my gosh, the Irish gods are talking to me.
Your ancestors.
Yeah, I know.
Karissa, stop talking about the potatoes. Holy potatoes.
Oh my God.
Italian Irish. Always like struck me.
I know.
Ah.
Even when I was born, they were like, oh my God, what nationality is this baby? And Mum's like Italian Irish. They're like, woo, that's a lot.
Wow.
I won't make the jokes I was going to make. I'm just going to smash Queenslanders all day.
Potatoes or the pasta hut?
Pasta and potato.
Gnocchi.
Yeah.
Gnocchi.
Perfect.
Perfect. You're a gnocchi.
You're a gnocchi.
I think we'll try going on. If it happens again, we'll just wait.
Yeah, all good.
Then it won't happen.
Easy.
No dramas. So we are now where we are. We fast forwarded through the early times of hardship and lack of understanding. Although by the sounds of it, you kind of realize the fact that it's just you're just kind of not the same as everyone else.
True. Yeah.
Let's talk about KBI Media and where we got to today. What was was there like an aha moment of this is what I want to do, this is where I want to go? Like, what was the thought process to get you going in that space?
Oh, okay. Kind of. But like, I didn't wake up and go, this is exactly what I want to do, despite what people may think. What I would say is that I was like trying to count. I've had so many different jobs. Some of them aren't even probably on my LinkedIn because I didn't work there for long enough. And I always knew that I wanted to work for myself, right? Just had that in me, but I didn't really know. I mean, probably back then to give you some perspective and timeline, I quit my job when I was 25 years old. So I thought I'm young enough. I've got some experience to test the waters and see. And so maybe I was going through a couple of things personally, like, I don't know, maybe a couple of boyfriends or whatever didn't work out. And I don't know. I just thought, well, if I keep going down this path and working for someone, I'm going to roll up to be 30 years old. So
Not 30.
I know.
That's the haha moment.
But I also knew it takes time to build something. And so then so I will say that one day I woke up and I called my friend and I said, I'm quitting my job. She's like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I'm quitting. She's like, what are you going? I don't know. And I quit and I haven't looked back ever since. And I think that what I did do, which I don't know if enough people do, I went around in the industry and did probably rudimentary reconnaissance, being like, what is it that people needed? What is it they wanted? And to boil it down, what people sort of said was like, hey, I'm socially awkward. How do I market my product? How do I sell my product? And, how do I get in front of people? Then the other side of that, and one thing that really pained me a lot about going to these conferences were like security awareness. There's not enough awareness. There's too much of this awareness stuff that kept getting thrown about in the space. So what I developed back then, which is the KBI Digital, which is probably the backbone of what powers our media company today, is I thought, well, I've got a background in cybersecurity. I'm relatively okay at dealing with people. So I created a content agency that specialized in working with cybersecurity companies do content. And then we did like branding and websites and all the sort of things that you can think of as well. And then we had the podcast attached to it. And this was back before podcasting was as prolific as it is today. So we used to have to record on Skype. There was no podcasting facilities. People had never heard of it. Super early. But then I thought if I continue doing this, it will be probably again, the backbone of my brand, but I've got to keep doing it. I've got to keep showing up. And so then fast forward into 2022, we thought, hey, I took a step back and I looked at the industry in terms of media and trade publications that are out there. So we would be a trade publication. And I thought there's not a lot of people doing media the way I think it needs to be done in cybersecurity. So then we created a proof of concept or a POC to see if our hypothesis were to be true in creating this trade publication, because a lot of investment, time, and then probably did that for maybe 9-10 months. We thought actually there's a real opportunity to grow this in what the KBI Media brand is today. We thought, what are we going to call it? We'll call it the Media brand. And so we thought, okay, let's build it and let's unveil it. So we unveiled the new version of the site in November 2023. And I think from there, it's just probably exploded a lot more because, again, we've had the chops coming from building the content on the digital side, which rings through doing the media stuff. So there's a lot of people who are good at media, but do they understand how to do film and all of the elements that go into it? And that business still operates on its own that can service other parts as well. But then we thought the key thing that people really want are the eyeballs, the influence, the audience. But if we can have that dual capability and marry them together, that's a very strong place to be in. So I think that could I have done the media without doing the production and the digital stuff before? Probably not. So I guess that sometimes I thought, why didn't I get to the media stuff before? And I thought, well, actually, this is our point of difference. This is our value add. So I don't think now sitting here talking to you both, if I didn't do the other stuff before, I probably wouldn't have the understanding, the knowledge, as well as some of the nuanced elements about the media stuff that we do today.
Because it wasn't really something that you had done.
Never.
It's not like you'd had that background, right? So you didn't know how
Never
media
done
worked.
it in my life, Josh. No.
And now suddenly, bam, it's like you know how to navigate it. You deal with PR teams. You're working with global businesses, dealing with their issues, and we can talk about that. But you're an overnight success that took 8.5 years to build.
Yeah, and even like then, like I said, I've always been toying around with ideas. And like I said, I got some work in 2017, but we didn't get a proper client until 2018. Because again, like you guys that come from a recruitment background and you've done a recruitment company, that you got the pedigree. I didn't have that. I didn't have anything. Didn't have the contacts like I do today. So I really had to build everything from the ground up. I also think back then there wasn't many entrepreneurs in the space, and there definitely wasn't many females at my age. And I think with that, you got a lot of pushback. But I'm glad because it's given me the resiliency, and now it's very different. So I think that too many people are judging themselves on, oh, I'm not doing this after 3 months. It's like, yeah, it takes years. And I think to be really good at your craft, it probably takes a good 10 years to see serious success, at least, if not more.
To iterate, to figure out what's
For
good,
sure.
to figure out what's bad.
Well, I think that a lot of the stuff that we do today is our unique IP that we've actually, trial and tribulation and tested and pivoted, and market shifted a lot as well. And I wouldn't have had that if I had just come from that background and be like, oh, I know all of this and therefore it's easier. So I do think it's given me a skill set to be like, well, if your back's against the wall, how are you going to navigate it? Because sometimes it's easier for people who've got that background because they already have all the contacts and all the knowledge and they've done it before. But I didn't have that. I didn't have anything. Now I've created a skill set for myself that I never had. And so for me, it's always about practicing my craft. Like it's like that athlete mindset. It's being in first, leaving last, and just really practicing and getting better. Because I want to be one of the best people in the world, and we want to be best in the business in the world. So to me, it's not about coming in second or third. It's about being first.
Love that.
That's the hard-working mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned pushback earlier. We talked about this in a little bit more detail.
Sorry, does this have vodka in it? No, I'm joking.
It can do. Let's talk about that, right? Because I think, so many people have seen the version that we're sitting in front of now and all of the hard work that has paid off.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to kind of showcase that you did eat shit for a while and that there was a lot of people that were against you.
Years.
Tell me more about that. Like, what kind of pushback were you getting? And surely there were moments in that defiant head of yours where you were like, oh God, am I doing this right? Was there moments like that for you?
Heaps of moments. And I don't know whether I've been traumatized by it, so I try to block it out. But so many people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's changed significantly. But like every time I post something, and I was going through my phone the other day and I'd had screenshots of people like talking about my appearance, saying that I was a kid, talking about this, the weird things that people used to say in my DMs. One guy said, I hope you die in a car accident. Like,
Oh, wow.
so many wild things that I would never say to anyone, let alone a random person on the internet. But then being older, I'm thinking, person must be really hurt because hurt people, right?
Correct.
And I would never say that about someone. I also think as well, so one thing that I think about is when you're working in a company, you're like a school of fish. You're swimming with the fish and you're like the others. Then when you start to be an entrepreneur, you're still a little fish, but you're separating, and they don't like that. And then you work you out to become a big fish, and then you become a shark and people stay away from you. But you got to earn those stripes. So the biggest challenge that I would say is, how do you break away from being in the school of fish to just being a little fish and you're on your own? No one's caring about you, and all the other big school of fish are teasing you, laughing at you, mocking you, saying that you're going to fail. They're going to say all of these things behind your back, to your face, online, wherever. But how do you keep that resiliency going to be like, okay, I've just got to get to the next level of becoming a bigger fish and bigger and bigger and bigger? That to me is probably the hardest thing. And I just knew that I was going to keep showing up. There's going to be people who don't like me. And universally, there's not anyone on earth that likes everyone. So once you get to that point, it's okay. And you can still coexist. You can still live and let live. But some people, I don't know what I do to people, but I just trigger them. I don't know what it is. But I think that comes with, I've got really great parents, really great people around me that are saying like, I am a polarizing personality. Is that the Italian thing, Luca? I don't know.
I think it is.
Someone's called you intense once or twice, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I am intense. But I think to be a serious entrepreneur, you need to have intensity, because people want to work with someone that is intense because they know that they're going to get you the best outcome. I don't want to work with someone that's like, oh, I'm a bit sleepy today. I would say people come to me because I'm always got energy about me. So for me, it's very important that I, get accurate sleep and all of those sort of things to be able to give that energy to clients and people that are getting me to do something for them. And I don't think there's anyone out there that would be like, oh, KB, she's going to let me down. I don't think so. So I feel like people are counting on me more than ever to perform. And I think that having that intensity works for me, but not when I started, because people didn't like it and went against me. I mean, look, there's probably too many examples to this, but people were just really awful to me. Or I would see certain people I used to work with and go, oh, so-and-so was talking behind your back. But then I just thought, who has time for that? I don't sit there and talk behind people's back. I don't have time for that. I actually want to invest my energy into winning and succeeding. And I think, again, it goes into that school of fish mentality. But it's so hard when you're working in a corporate or you're working in a big company because you see the same people all the time. But then I would say out of sight, out of mind. When you start working independently and you're not seeing these people, you sort of start to almost forget that they exist, and then therefore their words are coming in, but you can see them, but it's not impacting me. So I would say that is the biggest challenge that I see. And I've often seen people over the years that have tried to do something and then they go back into the school of the fish because it's too hard. I do believe it takes a very specific type of person to do this type of work. And I don't believe it's for everyone. No, I don't.
No, I agree. I mean, I was listening to a podcast this morning that said, about a third of people can be successful. The ones that can be successful in entrepreneurship, right? I think that's probably that's maybe even a little bit genuine and generous, even maybe would be the better word. Obviously, it's a bit of a rough time early on. How'd you get through it?
Okay, how did I get through it? I would say really working on my mindset, number one. Looking at other people who, okay, if you look at like Walt Disney, that dude went bankrupt like 3 times, kept showing up. Imagine that. I haven't been bankrupt. The dude was bankrupt multiple times, so many people again. He kept showing up. Seeing those sort of stories, even like Jeff Bezos, love or hate the guy, it doesn't matter. He started this thing when he was 30, and there's that, everyone's seen that photo of him sitting at this like run-down, decrepit desk, and look at where he is today. So it's like looking at those people and know there are people out there, but they had to go through stuff too. They may share it, they may not share it online. But I think I just knew that just give me time. I also think having my now husband around me who knew me when I was very junior, even before I became an entrepreneur, as well as my parents. I really don't think I would have done it if I didn't have my parents, because I think that, and what I mean by that is There are too often that I speak to other people and they say, you know what, I wanted to do my thing and my mum and dad said, no, you're not smart enough for that. There was never a doubt in my mum and dad's mind. They were like, okay, you want to do this? How can we support you? But if they didn't say that, would I be sitting here having this chat? I don't know if I would have, because it would be really hard to go against the grain of your mum and dad for me personally, because I do come from a very traditional values and traditional style family. Would I have done it? I don't think so. So I'm really grateful that I have them as my mum and dad, because it's hard. It's hard to do these things alone. And it's also harder as you get older. I also thought doing it 25, I don't have any kids, mortgages, any husband, it's going to make it a lot easier. So I really take my hat off to people who are a lot older in life that have got a lot more risk. Would I do this again knowing what I've gone through? No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
Wow.
No.
Do you know what? I'm kind of shocked to hear you say that, right? Because I think the version of the person that you've just talked about sat in front of me is just getting started, right? But has already achieved so much.
Well, I am just getting started. I feel like I'm still at the warm-up phase.
Yeah, and to say no, you wouldn't do it again is, I didn't expect that. I really thought you'd go, yeah, I mean, fuck them, it's worth it.
Well, let me elaborate more on that. I think it's probably because I've had to sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
Sacrifice a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever else, spiritually, whatever you want to call it. I've had to forgo other opportunities. I've had to, most people on a Friday night, they're sitting there kicking back, and I've been out here working really late or on the weekends, especially when you first started. I remember being so tired one day, I literally fell asleep at my desk. That's how tired. That was to the point that I was like, I need to make this work. I need to make it work. The other thing is, I don't get to go on 3-week, 4-week vacation holiday to Europe every year. No, didn't have the money to do it. Number one. Number two, couldn't, because someone's got to be delivering against work and overseeing what's happening. So I would say that you got to choose your heart. I've chosen this path. Would I do it again? Look, it has challenged me. It's easier for me to sit here and say that now, but for sure when I was younger, yeah, I used to get upset. I used to get really, really upset. I used to cry. It was really awful. I think that not a lot of people see that side of me. And I think the other thing is that people can be quite awful to you. And I definitely don't think I would do it again. No.
Well, you're walking around as a giant fuck you to them now. So, in fantastic fashion every time. Let's talk about where you've come from. We've talked about how you've got to where you are, all that kind of negative stuff. Let's talk about the positive stuff. So you built this idea. You wanted to create this. How do you even define, KBI Media these days? Because it's got levels to it and silos and products and
I would
offerings.
say they're a modern media company.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? The podcast, personality driven, social media. We do other podcasts for other clients. We do a lot of video content, as you've seen, as well as your standard traditional publishing side of it, but in a very specific vertical. There's probably not many companies in the world that do the depth and breadth that we offer. That's a very unique place to be. So I would say how does you define it? How do you define me? I just don't know. People are like, how do I describe? I just don't know. I don't believe in titles. Kind of just me. I think people say, oh, it's just KB now. And it's like, hey, that's a title on its own. So I think I've earned the right to get to that title. But yeah, I would say that's what we are. And like I said, I never really woke up with this exact idea, but because it's been an evolution, it's been an organic evolution, it's made me think about things a little differently and know that I've got this vision. I want things to look a certain way. I may not get there next week, but I eventually do get there. And the difference to me, Josh, really is that I always say to people, I've just got the longevity and I've got the stamina. So I'll just keep going and going and going and going. Even if it takes 10 years, but I'll keep going. And that is something I don't see a lot of people do. They'll do something for a bit and then they get bored of it, or their boyfriend breaks up with them. They don't have the resiliency to keep going. So I'm just of the opinion when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Love that.
Where does that come from though, right? Is that again, your upbringing, your parents, everything like that? Because you know that it's unusual. We know that it's unusual. Like most people are, I'm going to use your analogy and I'm probably going to steal it moving forward. I'm sorry. They're in the school. School's a lovely place. Everyone gets fed. It's nice, it's warm, it's comfortable. Where does it come from for you?
I wish I could answer that, because sometimes I'm like, it's a lot easier being in the school. Like I said before, maybe I wouldn't do it again. It's a lot easier being in the school, isn't it? Because you don't have to face the adversity. You don't have to face, awful people online talking things about you. You don't have to face people literally laughing in your face, trying to think that they're better than you. It's easier to be in the school and be like everyone else, isn't it? Sometimes I don't want to walk this path. I really don't. But it's who I am. It's how I'm showing up in the world. I just think there's outliers. And if you go and study people that are successful, they are outlier. They've always been different. I just think I was born this way. I really do. But again, having that adversity and building that resiliency, it's taken time. I think just getting older now as well helps. So things I probably put up with when I was 25, I wouldn't put up with 33. Definitely. And I would tell people where to go. And I don't know if people would say it to me nowadays.
Forcefully.
True. I'd say it very politely though. But I think that it's what level do you want to get to? Some people might think, well, I just run this Etsy store, but it enables me to, look after my 3 children. So therefore that's success. Define your success. For me, it's about, I want to absolutely push my body, mind, everything to the edge and then beyond the edge. But that's what I think about. Where's the edge? For me, it's like, okay, I've done this thing, I'm going to do the next thing. And sometimes I scare myself thinking, well, when is it going to be enough? I don't know. But I know that I've got this, I've worked with my mindset my entire life, but even more so in the last few years, to be like how to handle things and the resilience to me is like, how do you get back to baseline quickly? So if something happens, how quickly can you recover back to where you were? And that is something that some people be like, oh my God, this thing happened and then I'm out for 3 weeks. I don't have time for that. In a business, as an entrepreneur, you got to get back quickly. And the quicker you get back, the more you can outperform your competitors or anyone else trying to come up the ranks and swim beside you, right? So I think that that's something now I'm learning. Because something's going to happen every day. Someone's going to rattle you. But you know what's interesting to me that I've really noticed? Things that used to rattle me don't anymore. Or when I'm speaking to someone, after work or whatever it is, casually, they're going on about something. I'm like, I don't think that matters. You know what Jenny on the floor thinks. I don't think about Jenny.
Poor Jenny.
I know. Actually, my friend is called Jenny, but it's not about her. So I think those are things that, again, going back to the school of fish side of things, that's just all you know. But now it's like how much I've grown and like those things don't impact me. I don't even worry about those things. I've got other things to worry about. But then, hey, if you sat Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos down, they're like, oh my gosh, what she's going on about is nothing to what we're dealing with. So it's perspective, right? It's all relative and what is happening in your world and what's around you. But I'm just saying as the growth increases, you start to realize other things just fade away.
There is no shortcut.
No, there isn't.
It's a timing market. There really isn't. There's none. So we've talked a little bit about, and you touched on something before that I'm going to come back to. What is enough? Do you believe there is ever going to be enough? What?
Probably not. Probably not. But actually, it's not. It's actually not about money or any of those things. It's actually about building something and knowing that I've built this thing from the ground. That's, I think, what excites me the most, and doing something different. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in 20 years, someone's like, hey, because of KB and what she's done has helped influence how the industry has taken a turn. That's cool to me. And being at the coalface of that to me is something that I'm excited by. But equally, it's like, some people train for marathons and they push their body, but this is me pushing my body and my mindset. That's just something that I'm curious about. And I'm like, how can I go from having all the odds stacked against me to be like, hey, I'm in a favorable position because of what I've done and because of the mindset and the resiliency and the hard work and the showing up when you don't want to. For me, it's about, well, I want to keep challenging myself. And you know how some people go, oh, I want to run a business and then I want to just sit on the beach and drink cocktails. Okay, I can drink wine and then I'm bored. I'm like, okay, I need to do something. I'm just wired a different way and I can't explain it. And so sometimes what pains me is like all these people that are like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and like, look how cool my life is. And I just travel around the world and I don't really do anything. I just sell some random course or whatever these people do. But I'm like, that's not challenging for me. And it actually requires sitting at a desk and meeting people. You know, if I just literally just floated around the world not doing anything, like, I don't know, my business may not be where it is today. So I think for me, it's about how much more can I push myself to get those outcomes? That's what I find interesting and intriguing. Where that edge is, Josh, who knows? Maybe ask me in a few more years.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. But I'm driven by that. That's what actually gives me the energy and wakes me up in the morning, because I'm actually living for something. I'm not just following the fish in front.
That's a good one. I see a lot of energy, a lot of ideas coming in, and like your mentality and mindset is like pretty impressive. But like, how do you keep on track? Like, how you stick with your true north? Because there's so many input going on in your mind, and you can tell.
I think it's good to always have ideas, because that's how you evolve what you're doing. You just need to list them out, write them down, however you want to do it, but you don't have to do it right now. So you can put that on the back burner. I think it's about following what are the critical things I need to get to every day. What are like the non-negotiables? Getting that done. I think it's always about clients, managing that first and foremost, and then everything else. I also think as well, having the right tools in place. So obviously you go team, I have a business partner, all those sort of things as well, that enables you to keep focused, because you can start to delegate and all those sort of things. I also think as well, and I'm really trying to think about what do I do, is one thing I haven't done, and I'm trying to do more of it, is actually just have that peace in my mind about what's coming up in my mind and then actually addressing it. I also think, and it's hard because I like to exercise outside, and it's been raining a lot in Sydney, which makes me a bit more claustrophobic, but I just think even just going for those walks, and then all these ideas start to happen. But it gives me clarity on things. That's another thing as well. Having that time, it's difficult because when you're so busy and you're like, okay, the next thing, you don't get the time. I also think that even if I'm commuting into the city, just having my headphones and just getting that, not looking at my phone, not messaging someone, just thinking, looking at the window, going across Sydney Harbour Bridge or whatever it is, and thinking through in my head these problems that I need to solve, because sometimes it'll come to you at random times. Or people say, I got an idea in the shower, because you're only focusing on having the shower. You're not thinking about other stuff. So I think those, I've been bad at it, but I'm trying to get better at having those points, because that's when I have my best thinking.
Time to think is paramount, where the whole world is designed to make it so that you're always on, but time to actually stop is critical.
I think I lost a bit of that because I've just been so like up against it. But now I'm like, no, I need to have that moment of clarity at least. Some people get up early and they do that. It's just hard to do that because I work weird hours and weird time zones, or I've got events that run late at night. I don't really want to get up at 5 a.m. and sit there and think. So I'm being realistic about it. But even if I have those moments to just think, that's something that I'm trying to bring back into my everyday being, because it gives me that clarity and that focus. I also think, just going back to your question a little bit more, so I'm not just giving high-level frivolous answers, would be the concept of the showing up. So doesn't matter, you got to show up when you're hungover, when you're sick, or whatever it is. I just don't see enough people doing that, and then they just never hear from them again, because they can't continuously show up. And once you get so much better at it, it just becomes part of what you do every day. Every day we brush your teeth, it's the same sort of thing that it's just a habit for me.
You do it. You don't think about it. You just do it.
And I think about the end goal. I don't think about the now. I think about the version of me in 5 years. So I need to do this little thing that seems trivial and not important, but that's part and parcel of getting to that version of me in 5 years.
And yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that you're on the other side of the table here for once. You've done 320 last count. Amazing interviews, people all over the world at the very tip of our industry. Two things that really jump out to me. One, what have you taken away from that group as a collective? Is there anything that has added to your mindset and mentality? Is there anything that you've really noticed out of 320 odd people that are sat in front of you answering questions?
Some of them don't like doing the interview, but I force them to. No, that's not true. I think I've challenged a lot of people, very, very senior folks, that they probably don't get the challenge. That's our point of difference. And if you don't give me the answer that I'm looking for, I'm going to ask you another way. I think that I've had people come back to me and say, you've even challenged my thinking. So it's good that me always looking outside the box, not just doing, I'm going to use the fish analogy, doing what the other person's doing. Well, what is it when I'm speaking to this person who's at this level, who's very experienced, what is it that people are going to want to know that they're not saying? That's something that I think I've taken away from speaking to these people. And knowing that they're just another dude, they're just another lady, just like me.
Humans.
They're human beings. Now, once you get past it, that they're just a human, you just see them how you and I are talking right now. That's a, do some people make memories? Maybe, yeah. But as the more and more I do this, it's going back into, it's like a muscle, getting used to it. And I think that I've learned so much just through interviewing people that my knowledge has stayed there as well. And I want to continue to do that, but I never want to rest on my laurels. Too many people get to certain levels, Josh, and they're like, okay, I'm at the level now, I'm going to rest. Why? Not challenging. 2, that's when people can swim up beside you to try to overturn you. And that's a scary place for me. Getting to number 1 is one thing. Staying there, very hard.
Do you get that from the people that you meet, right? Because you're meeting people that are leading multi-billion-dollar companies, people that are leading huge amounts of other human beings. Are you seeing in that group of people any collective traits, anything that you would go, everyone that I meet has this about them, or a lot of them are wake up at 5 a.m., whatever it may be, right? Or something very driven around what have you. Is there anything that you look at and now with that body of work, you can say, a sign of a good executive leader, no matter where they're based, is they do this?
Because we focus more on the technical and what they do in terms of their trade craft, I don't know how around the 5 a.m. wake up sort of thing, but what I can say is that they love cybersecurity. So it's like when I ask someone a question, I can see that this executive, he's probably worth $1 billion. That's like, oh yeah, and then this thing happened. And you're like, wow, that's so cool. You really care about it. That would probably be the most consistent trait that I've seen across these executives. Or someone who's actually listening to me and is doing a proper interview, that's something that they're like, wow, this person's really listening and they are demonstrating their knowledge in the space as well, gets them to open up more. Whereas they're probably just used to being interviewed by some big media conglomerate that's like, oh, is AI going to be like the Terminator? I'm so sick of that line. Whereas it's like, I'm actually getting in there and folding back multiple levels to hear their thoughts. They're probably not doing a lot of that because, again, most people are focused on the bad things. It's like, well, what are the good things that we're doing in this space? So I would just say that their actual love and care for this industry is something that I've often seen. And I think that them actually giving up their time to come on the show and just showing up, that is another big thing as well. Like I've never really had anyone on there that's like, I'm too important. No. And they wouldn't come on there if they thought that.
No, I'm sure they would be filtered out.
Yep.
Filtered out, yes, true.
That's one way of putting it. What about the difference between the US, the UK, Australia? How do you see, we touched a little bit on kind of the school, right? And Luca and I will talk to this as well. When we work in San Francisco and the US in general, it's different, right? Is there tall poppy syndrome in this country?
Yes, 1,000%. And I love this question because there really is. I'll give you an example. And if you get into an Uber in the US, like, oh, hey, like, what do you could say you do like the worst thing on the planet, but you're trying to give it a go. They're like, hey, that's awesome. People here would be like, ugh. And then they're probably texting their mate saying, hey, this loser in the Uber thinks that he can do this thing. That is the difference. What I love about Americans is their energy. Have you guys been... Stop.
I'm just imagining you responding and going, some fucking Uber driver's just text his friend telling me I do.
Yeah, exactly. That's true, right? Have you guys been to Disneyland or Disney World? Okay, so when you go to Disneyland, you have never seen the energy and the love for a place in those places. Give me an example. I was there. I said, excuse me, ma'am, like, where's the restroom? She's like, oh my gosh, it's down here to the left, to the right. And it's like,
That's
what?
so American.
I've never seen anyone in my life so excited. Or she was like, hello, Disney World person. Like, it was like a whole performance just to show me that. Imagine an Australian person doing that. Oh, yeah, mate. No.
Just down the road there.
Yeah,
You wouldn't even get an answer.
Yeah, right here.
But their love and their passion for these things is just... It's incredible. And that's what I feel that I just don't fit in here because I am so like, oh my God, that's cool. What are you doing? That's awesome. Like, how can I help? Americans want to help you. Australians do not. They don't want to help you. But when you're at a level, sure. If people think they can get something from you, sure. But you got to, again, it goes by that fish thing. Once you get into the size of the fish, then it's like, well, now I see a fish my size, I'm happy to work with you. But people don't often want to help the people beneath them here. They don't. And it's really sad, actually. And I think it actually stifles our innovation here in Australia. Or what we often see is entrepreneurs that go overseas and we lose them as talent.
The brain drain's real.
How do we change that? I mean, I don't know. I think it's in our culture. It's sad, but I see that. And that's something that I think made it a lot harder for me as an entrepreneur. And I've sat, you know, when I speak to America, like, and we're so sarcastic here as well, whereas if you're not used to Americans and their culture, you might think that they're kind of being sarcastic towards, like, oh my God, that's awesome. But they're actually genuine in like, that is cool. Because it's all about the American dream and knowing if you work hard, you get rewarded. It's not like that here in Australia.
No, you try
just
to
get
say hard,
taxed
go
more.
away. Yeah.
And then therefore, I think people just like, oh, I don't want to work. I can be bothered, don't want to do it. It's too hard. Or people are going to judge me and tease me and I'm not going to be like my mate and my friends. There's so many people that I don't think embrace being an individual for the fear of what other people are going to say about them.
KB for PM, you heard it here first. There you go, change it. No, but you're 100% right. Like, you know, I think that the business culture here penalizes success.
Massively.
You know, like
Massively.
the demonization of people that have been very successful. Let's not talk about the fact that the biggest and richest are either people that are starting software companies or drilling and digging shit out of holes even, right? But what about the person who's made, you know, 10, 15 million, right? They're still demonized. I've never
they're
understood
mocked,
it.
though. That's
This is my point.
The
Yeah.
mockery. I don't get it. This
There's no
person's
value.
gone out, done something really hard to do, and we're sitting here mocking the dude? Really? I see it. Okay, I'll give you an example. I was scrolling on Facebook the other day, and I always like to see what people are saying in the comments. And there was like some person that was on Airtasker had made like $1 million. And someone's like, oh, can't believe this person's doing it. What a shit job to do. And it's like, are you for real? We're actually dissing someone for having a go.
Hard work too.
Hard work.
Yeah.
You know, it was like cleaning things that people didn't want to clean.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here having a go at this person. That's what gets me about Australian culture. It actually triggers me beyond belief. And I don't stand for it. So now when someone's out here having a go, I'll be like, hey, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard it was to feel so isolated and so alone for people to not back me. But now I'm at this level, it's a little bit different. So I didn't have that and I wish I did. So I'm always about supporting someone and encouraging them to do. I won't say it's easy and it's going to be hard work, but I'm going to support them. And that's something that I see the Americans will do. They will lift you up and they will support you. The Australians won't. And that's very sad considering we are a very small nation and yet we operate very independently.
I love the fact that this is where we come to our end, right? Because you've just bombed half the country. And I don't disagree with you.
I am still a citizen here, so that's...
Love you, Australia. But no, look, you can love the country without loving the fact that there is an undercurrent of entitlement. Yeah, like there's a bunch of other stuff we could call it. But yeah, I'm with you.
What's that phrase? It's like, hate the game, not the player. That's where I think I'd sit with Australia, right? The game in which Australians operate in doesn't mean I hate Australia or I hate Australians. And this is me generalising. There's some really great people that I have met. But I think it's something that needs to change because, again, we just talk about the same old success stories. It's like those people were successful 20 years ago. How about giving someone else a go? We just see there's so much nepotism and we just favour the same people in the mainstream media. Why? And the benefit of what I've done today, I want to give people who don't have a voice. That's why our tagline is trademarked that, the voice of cyber, because we want to give people who haven't perhaps been the standard poster child, give them a voice. Tell them, maybe they go against what everyone in the industry says. Cool, I'm happy to interview and talk through why you think that. So it is sad for Australians. And I know that like the whole tall poppy thing is rife. And when you explain it to Americans, they're like, I've never heard of that. It's just not a thing that exists there.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? On that note, congratulations on your recent sponsorship for KBcast. It's
Thank you.
An amazing achievement. As someone who stands on the other side of this on occasion, it's tough. And 320 people, it's a lot of time and effort to be put in. Is there anything, as we come to the conclusion of what has been explosive at its best, I cannot wait for the shorts out of this. Is there anything else that you want to add? Anything else anyone else you've not attacked in this hour thus far? Any other points that you want to share with people that are listening?
I feel like I always walk away from an interview saying, oh, I didn't discuss that. No, I'm just trying to be as raw and honest and show both sides. There's good, there's bad though as well. And knowing that I want to be able to demonstrate that you can give it a go if you want to. You will have to start to separate yourself from the others, the fish, and go at alone. But know that you have your own back and know that if you've got the right mindset, the people around you, the resiliency, you'll get there, but you're not going to get there tomorrow, unfortunately. And the other thing is that we live in this world where it's like, oh, I didn't make any money after 3 months. So what? Neither did heaps of people. You need to wait years and years and years. Or someone's like, oh, KB, I posted something on LinkedIn and I didn't become like a viral. I didn't get viral. And it's like, well, I say this, post something every day for 5 years, then come back to me and tell me how you're going. There's too many people that just instant gratification. But with that knows, if most people are like that and you're willing to do the work over a period of time, then you will win and you will be successful.
Mr. Marzorati, anything to
Keep
add?
showing up. That's I think that's where we go from.
Well, no, I think, look, what I have taken away from this is that the veneer that people see and what they can kind of, their expectation and thought process of what has happened. No one knows the hard work that goes in at 1 a.m. in the morning or Sunday mornings or anything like that. So fair play to you. And that I think that, we've got a lot of work still to do in this country to continue on the pathway that we're on. I appreciate you being so raw. I appreciate you telling the both sides of the story, because I think you're right. Like, people have this perception that it's one thing when in reality, you do have to eat some shit every now and again.
Everyone does,
That's
no matter
part of
who
it.
you are.
So KB, the voice of cyber, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.